is there some way I can actually talk about nature and kind of bring a certain appreciation for what it represents, that we come from nature and that we have to understand what it is so as not to harm it and then ultimately harm ourselves, that there is an importance to have a certain reverence for what nature is, because we are connected to it and we are part of it. And if we destroy it, nature, we destroy ourselves. So I believe that as a fundamental philosophical position when I look at the world. So I started thinking, well, maybe the new landscape of our time, the one to start to talk about is the landscape that we change, the one that we, disrupt in pursuit of progress. So I'm trying to look at the industrial landscape as a way of defining who we are and our relationship to the planet. It's just this thing that's growing, and it's part of our economy, and it's part of our politics, and it's part of how we elect our governments, and it's part of everything we do. But it's this big machine that started rolling, and I'm not coming at it to celebrate or glorify the industry, nor am I trying to damn it. I'm just trying to say, well, this is what it is. So to show those types of images or those types of places allows the viewer to begin to comprehend the scale. So it's another landscape. It is a landscape. It's a different landscape.
每天抱怨我们，每天这个作业不良， 有一些动作。
还有我们的温度旋钮、蒸汽旋钮这些东西的话，
不要笑。连着，你到他后面去，然后你们那边四个刚好，你到这一排过来。好，或者说我们现在的连料，在我们2B 班对这一块最头痛的。每次我们做Q62，如果没人说好，结果的不良品是堆的一大堆的，是乱堆的，这还不管。最头痛的就是没有不良标签。那么积压以后，就跟我们不良品混在一起，或者说有人来搬你的时候，不知道，嘣嘣嘣全部干下去了。好，我是人，我不是神仙，我一个人，你们这边有20几个人，甚至30个人。到退料的时候，好，我们品管有抱怨过很多次，在我们2B 班的一个习惯就是这样。
跑过去就没问题，或者超出。不管是你做哪一道工序，那个出厂还有哪一道。
Edward, I want to know how you like it so far.
It's okay if we move. Like trying to infill this area out here is the most important. Like, yeah, that one group, the colors.
别人出的厂的人不可以来收，是由我们清洁工，由我们清洁工，他们自己来收。
That's good, hey, Noah. Marching them all down here is fantastic because I lose them down at the other end anyways. So you want the foreground to be full. They're coming. It's looking okay.
别人出的厂的人不可以来收，是由我们清洁工，由我们清洁工，他们自己来收。而我们要做到哪一些？我们应该要做到里面没有任何东西。
I wish that I had the light about a half hour ago. It's deadened down a bit. I'm hoping it opens up.
垃圾或者别人出的厂的人不可以来收，而我们的只有我们。
I think we're good. I'm just shooting now.
Okay, good. 应该都不错，没问题。他正在拍现在。
That's good. That's perfect.
Ladies and gentlemen, Ed Burtynsky.
Inspired by nature. That's the theme here. And I think, quite frankly, that's where I started. I had a bit of an epiphany being lost in Pennsylvania, and I took a left turn trying to get back to the highway, and I ended up in a town called Frackville. And I got out of the car and I stood up, and it was a coal mining town, and I did a 360 turnaround, and that became one of the most surreal landscapes I'd ever seen, totally transformed by man. And that got me to go out and look at the largest industrial incursions that I could find. And that became the baseline of what I was doing.
I guess in the back of everybody's mind, if you think of extraction industries, that we all know that stuff comes from somewhere, but we're disconnected from that. So my images brought those landscapes into our consciousness. And for about 10 years, I explored that kind of landscape through quarries and mines, nickel or copper or iron ore, and ones that had been going on for long periods of time, so that the evidence of that accumulated taking in one frame, you can show the dimensions of our extraction in the landscape. When looking at China, I was looking at that place where all these materials coalesce. So they're coming in from all around the world. Iron ore and aluminum and wood, all these things that China has very little of. And then these factories are this place where all these materials get formed into products and sent back out around the world.
细一点，但现在太多了。别人说你还要讲，都不听，都不想干。
The other aspect of what's happening in China is that a lot of the recycled materials that are collected here are being taken to China by ship. That's cube metal. This is armatures, electrical armatures, where they're getting the copper and the high-end steel from electrical motors. 50% of the world's computers end up in China to be recycled. It's referred to as e-waste there. And the way they recycle is that they actually heat up the boards, and with pairs of pliers they pull off all the components. They're trying to get all the valued metals out of those components. But the toxic smells, when you're coming to a town that's actually doing this kind of burning of the boards, you can smell it a good 5 or 10 kilometers before you get there. I'm not usually known for portraits, but I couldn't resist on this one, where she's been through Mao, and she's been through the Great Leap Forward and the Cultural Revolution, and now she's sitting on her porch with this e-waste beside her. It's quite something.
So that's higher, a bit higher. There we go. Okay.
不知道在这翻好之后怎么样，就是把它打碎吗？打碎啊，都要打碎啊。打碎了。如果那一气放下是吧？好了。
In one of the towns that was the most notorious for e-waste recycling, they were smashing monitors and using the glass, but inside the monitor was full of phosphors and of lead, different types of cadmium, different pretty toxic heavy metals. And so all of this, of course, would wash into the rivers, would go into the soil, and after every rain, it would get it further and further into the water table, to the point where the water table is totally contaminated, and they're now having to ship water in.
首先呢，欢迎你们来到我们公司，这里呢是生态公司总部。从这13年来呢，公司呢稳步的向前发展。这个公司呢，以及现在的产品呢，销往全球60多个国家和地区。它的产品的覆盖从电源端到末端的低压保护用电器，主要有 TSM1 智能万能式电断路器，还有 TSM21 束壳式断路器， TSM 系列小型断路器，还有 TSY 电容保护器。
我叫谭艳芳。
你这样做多长时间
？6年了。一天要是不加班的话，可以装400只。
TSM 系列小型断路器。其外壳使用目前国际上性能最优良的材料，从荷兰进口的增强阻燃 PI66 注射成型而成。 它的产品呢，主要有就是一个，对不起，不太那个，我觉得很紧张了。这样子，我能不能拿一个资料啊？我们将不断更新市场观念，以科技先行，全心全力让客户满意。以做专、做精、做大的企业理念，精心打造一流的企业。追求卓越，走专业化道路是我们的宗旨。
Are we moving on though?
Yeah, we're gonna move on. The light's really good. Let's try and get some more stuff.
Yeah.
说他90几年来的时候好像没坐船，现在说是开始都富裕了嘛。我妈妈和我一样，我爸爸是做装备的。我没考起高中就过来做这个了，我舅舅以前是干这个的，我就过来学了。
We might want to pull this a bit for the sky. Yeah, just too, I overexposed a bit of the second one, so I want to pull it a bit. Yeah. Yeah.
These ships carry, I think, a great metaphor of, connecting us through seas. The materials that we experience all come through ships, so they have become the kind of reason that has allowed globalization to take the proportions it has.
The high tide is at 13:1.
So 1:30 is high tide.
They want it in farther so they can work on it. It's too far out for them to get it together.
I want to see if we can actually walk up to that other big ship. And where do they anticipate it to land? What's their best guess?
They don't know. I mean, it's all the will of God.
I like it.
At one point I was shooting a mine, and it was a silver mine.
Okay, it's a little dark.
I arrive in my car made out of iron, filled with gas. I pull out a metal tripod and grab film that's loaded with silver and start taking pictures. So everything that I'm doing is connected to the thing I'm photographing. Looking at these ships in Bangladesh, the connection was clear. At some point, I probably filled a tank of gas from the oil that was delivered by one of these tankers. These oil tankers still had sludge and crude at the bottom of the ships that had to be scraped out, and it was all done by hand. 18, 19, 20-year-old boys, even younger, in oil up to their necks. It's very, very low-paid work and very dangerous work, so you rarely see anybody over 30 at work there. The whole idea of energy entered my work around 1997 when I began to photograph oil fields and oil refineries. And I had this, what I call an oil epiphany, when one day I was driving and started to think about how oil had affected my life. And I was holding onto a plastic steering wheel that was probably made from oil derivatives in a car with paints that were oil, looking through glass that was probably heated through oil, driving on black tar. And I started to think about oil as a key building block of the last century. I thought of it as the oil party, that, there's this great abundance of black liquid that gives us this mobility, this freedom. And I couldn't help but feel that, China was kind of either joining the last dance or the second last dance to this party, that peak oil is somewhere that either we've hit it or we're about to hit it. No matter what we do, we just can't get enough to supply the world demand. So to look at China and the way they're expanding to be the manufacturers of the world is a very different energy footprint. And because they're entering late in the game, it remains a question of how long they'll be able to sustain.
You can see a lot of coal and coke here, of course.
这是由于我们国家这个经济发展是需要它这个煤炭的流量这个用量比较大。
Yes, with the economic development of
但是带来了一个环保的，所以现在呢，
刚才说一句话，就是说，因为中国需要靠煤，就是为了支撑它的发展，对吧？那我们就是为了这个意思来的。咱们我们要交代一下这个，因为他要拍一本书有关中国的发展工业发展，我们很难的欢迎我们。是，然后中国为了这样发展的话，需要靠能量，对吧？所以我们想，然后在这个能量
No.
Just take me.
Yeah.
As far as I understand, the problem right now,
Yeah.
I mean, it's my personal idea,
Okay.
is that the port itself has the very regulation that no media is allowed to come to this.
I understand that. But my understanding is from Mr. Chen Lin this morning.
Maybe.
You know? Yeah. No, it's okay.
Maybe Mr. Chen Lin does not know that there is a certain regulation that is, Mr. Zhang.
我知道风很大今天。
Very dirty, very dirty. I don't think it's a good day to make beautiful pictures. 看看那个黑乎乎的都是。
通过他的镜头，他的眼光，你会没想到会拍的这么好看。像那是边角料拍的特别美，这也是垃圾，不过是他拍的特别美。让你看一下他那拍的作品，这是他出的一个回顾的画册，这是他20多年以来拍的东西。
Really?
大部分是在加拿大，我给你看一些他的，这是矿。然后因为我们的画册需要 个照片，就是有关于其实是对外的影响力。Let's go see.
Let's go see.
咱们先到现场去。
Don't even know what we're talking about. Then we come back and talk.
Right. Okay. Let's go.
Okay.
Okay.
，What you see here is the Three Gorges Dam, and this is the largest dam by 50% ever attempted by man. Most of the engineers around the world left the project because they said it's just too big. In fact, when it did actually fill with water a year and a half ago, they were able to measure a wobble within the earth as it was spinning. It took 15 days to fill it. So this is a massive, it created a reservoir 600 kilometers long, one of the largest reservoirs ever created. And it's actually a relief for what's going on in China, because I think on the table right now there's 27 nuclear power stations to be built in the next 10 years. And coal-burning furnaces are going in there for electric power literally weekly.
您在这工作是吧？
哦。
怎么样？辛苦吧？
还辛苦吗？什么辛苦吗？20多块钱。
啊？32块钱吗？一天30块钱。哦。您对工程怎么看？骄傲吧？这么大一工程。 是其中一个建设者是吧？
哎，我们这是个大工的嘛，我们是下土大工。没有分班制了吧？中班、白班。
哦，也是3班。
3班倒。
时间工作多长时间了？
有个9年了。
9年了，哇哦，那一个。
工作，还是为了国家一个人生嘛。
那么这个大坝是从94年12月14号正式开工的，那么进行到现在将近有10年的历史了。那么整个的工期算下来一共是17年，要到09年才结束。这个大坝呢，应该说是目前在建的这个世界上的水利工程在建中的可能是最大，可能在以后的将来也可能是最大的。那么这个大坝的主要的功能有3个方面。一个是防洪，第一位的功能是防洪，第二位的目标是第二个大的功能就是说发电，第3个是航运，是这样的。那么这个大坝全长呢是2309米。那么这个大坝整个的安装的发电机组呢，一共是26台。然后我们在后期呢还留有6台的扩机的，就是在右岸的地下3体里面还有6台扩机的内容。那么这样算下来总共是32台，32台每台是70万千瓦。那么总的发电量呢，就是总的装机容量是2240万千瓦。大概每年的发电量呢，可能要在847亿度左右，847亿度每年的发电量。
不打呀你，反正晚上不打牌哦，看他还钱，那你不打呀？就是由于这个大坝的建成，有很多那个居民就是必须得迁移，然后搬迁。大概有多少这样的搬迁移民呢？就是因为这个。
按1992年的就开工之前的1992年的这个统计的话，大概要整体搬迁下来大概要83万人。那么考虑到人口出生率，最终的渔民的话，可能要113万人，110万人，就是说大数110万人。
他们现在新居。他们对他们的新居满意吗？
这个不要问我，这我不归我负责管这个事。
Look at that.
So I made 3 trips to the Three Gorges Dam looking at that massive transformation of a landscape. And it looks like a bombed out landscape, but it isn't. What it is, it's a landscape that is an intentional one. This is a need for power, and they're moving 13 full-size cities up out of the reservoir and flattening all the buildings so they could make way for the ships. And it was all the people who lived in those homes were the ones that were actually working and getting paid per brick to take their cities apart.
want to go back to shoot this in a different light.
Yeah, this is spectacular. Good find, Jeff.
This will all be over in another 3 weeks or a month. And it's here for the moment. And once they're through this rubble, it's finished, then the water floods it. So there's this crazy frenetic activity for the next month or two, and then it's gone forever. So. Okay. Okay. Yeah. 谢谢你，慢走。Okay. Well, I think it's off. It'll be okay. I need that Polaroid.
哎呀，注意镜头更远大，啊，要给近点点看不清呗。
对啊。
Keep working on the shot.
meters in a scale of 1 to 500. It's the biggest of its kind in the world, so it's a Guinness record. The planning is from 2001 to 2020, so 20 years planning. Now we also have 15 years planning. First we see this blue river is Huangpu River. Here, this is Huangpu River. And in the eastern side is called Pudong area. Pudong area. The western side is called Puxi area.
When Mao finished his reign, there was 90% agrarian and 10% urban. The current idea coming from Beijing is to see it 30% agrarian and 70% urban, which when you look at 1.3 billion, the urbanization of China is unprecedented in the world.
This building is under construction. The name is World Financial Center. When this building finished, they will have 492 meters, 101 stories. In the future, they will become the highest building of Shanghai. Here is Century Park. Century Park. Behind Century Park, we will see many white small buildings. And here is Villa Garden, Villa area.
One of the things I focused on in terms of the urbanization of China was Shanghai, and that Shanghai is probably China's fastest growing city. In the last 5 years, it's had about 4 to 5 million new citizens arrive. And it's growing in this kind of crazy fashion in that thousands and thousands of high-rise dwellings are replacing the older traditional dwellings that were there.
因为以前呢，这个国家本身就比较穷，那么人们的生活水平当然相应的就要低一些。巫山新城比老城呢，从规模上，从这个建筑质量上都有很大的改变。一般的情况就是这样，这个生活情况呢，比以前也有所提高。因为环境改变了，这个职工的心情比以前都好多了。
So the garden is about 1,800 square meter. So I have 2 gardeners come every day to keep this plant lively. Actually, in the evening, when all this light on the garden really look beautiful, quiet. Since I am in the real estate business, I visit lots of property, and Shanghai developed really quickly. Really, I think the fastest city in the world.
我们这里是基本上都是呢，这房子都是过去都是老房子，都是老邻居了，对吧？都几十年的邻居了。我现在是这个，原来我父亲、母亲都在这里长大的， 长大的，对吧？这是我小时候就生了这个地方的，我今年已经60几岁了，对吧？
You see this open kitchen here actually was my garage. Originally, this house looked totally different. That's the study room. I spent lots of time here. That's my favorite bookshop. This is antique style, Chinese antique style. Red. Red color means happy.
I
think the Shanghai city is more or less for the younger people, younger generation. Some older generation, they are not happy because they're feeling their heart still belong to the old place. This is everywhere in the world safe.
给你做思想工作呀，做好这一个就办这一个，做好这就办这一个。有的他是骗，带骗带哄，骗你，给你骗了走。
I bought a property close by here called Shijiahuatan, and they could not build the property which they promised us. The reason was they needed longer time to convince old lady, you know, to move just a little bit maybe away from, you know, the area, even 10 minutes. But she just did not. It was impossible for her.
这么多大人给我们这里的很骨头打断了，打断掉。
The whole community was knocked down, but this house, she just didn't want to leave.
We are changing the nature of this planet. We are changing the air, we are changing the water, we are changing the land. And that's just not China, that's the world at large. There are times when I have thought about my work and putting it into a more politicized environment. If I said this is a terrible thing that we're doing to the planet, then people will either agree or disagree. By not saying what you should see, that may allow them to look at something that they never looked at and to see their world a little differently. So I think many people today sit in that uncomfortable spot where we don't necessarily want to give up what we have, but we realize what we're doing is creating problems that run deep. It's not a simple right or wrong. It needs a whole new way of thinking.